Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. Thank you so much for joining us live on Facebook and YouTube. Don't forget to check out our website, hollywoodmatrimony.com, and go find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Hive. I think that's everything.
You have hives?
You have the hives.
I don't. You do.
There you go. All right. I know it's Oscar night. You're busy watching the Oscars, but later you're going to watch this. We're going to be making our Oscar predictions here later today on the show, but right now we have some movies we must talk about. We're a little bit behind, but we got some good
Nothing
stuff.
to watch her behind.
Well, no, there's not because baby got back. All right. What do you want to talk about, baby?
I don't care.
Okay, so
Tell us what
my cords are all
You're done
tangled.
resetting every.
Let's go right here. Is that cool?
Yeah, it's fine.
All right. So first, we are going to talk about the new,
Excuse me.
the new Children of the Corn movie. This is Children of the Corn that's come out in 2023 this year. Okay, not to be confused with all the other Children of the Corn movies. Oh Lord, there are many. So maybe you're a fan of the first Children of the Corn with Linda Hamilton, right? You got something
Sure.
on you. Okay. Maybe part 2. Wait, part 3. Ooh, part 4. Part 5. Or my favorite, part 666, where Isaac comes back.
Have you seen any of these besides the first one?
I've seen the first one, and that's pretty much it. And you know what? This isn't all. There's like 3 or 4 other ones.
I'm aware.
And I think there was like a TV show.
Well, the remakes of the original.
The remakes in 2009. I mean, there's so much. But now
the latest
we're on
one
this
is a
one.
reimagining.
A reimagining of the original and idea, not the
Not
original
the same
story.
movie at all.
Because the first one with Linda Hamilton was based on the book, or the short.
This one's a reimagining of the idea of the book / movie.
Yeah.
Because the premise is fundamentally the same, but it's handled in a different way.
Correct.
And there is an element of this movie that's better than the original.
Yep.
But as a whole, the movie is...
Well, we're going to talk about that.
Is what it is.
So the very first Children of the Corn with Linda Hamilton, originally...
You like saying Linda Hamilton. You've said it like 35 times.
I've said it twice now.
No, that was the third time.
That's the one that Stephen King wrote an original screenplay, and they decided not to go with his, which is bizarre to me, to not use the author of the book to write the screenplay. Whatever. They went with someone else. Well, whatever. The story. They went with someone else. And so it is based on that story. What do you think about the first one? The very first one.
Like the original?
Yeah, the original.
Because we did watch both. I've never been a big Children of the Corn fan. I like elements of it. You know, I like Malachi and I like Isaac and I like that stuff. Isaac always creeped me out because I always, of course, when I was younger, I didn't realize that was a person that had like that one of those diseases that made him appear a lot younger. And I always like, that is a creepy young man.
He's older.
I realized that's actually an older man that had the appearance of a younger man. Yeah. I mean, he wasn't old. He wasn't like Benjamin
He's like
Button
in his 20s, and all these other kids were there.
But he creeped me out just in presence alone.
He did. Very.
I think it was more creepy in 666 just because he had finally started looking like an old man,
like
but still appeared to be a child.
And smaller,
it was really
stature.
creepy. But
yeah,
but I always thought the original movie was kind of cheesy. I thought the idea of the kids were crazy and was kind of scary, just having kids kill people. But I don't know. It always felt like a TV movie to me, and it never really. I don't know. There was something about it I just didn't connect with. I didn't hate it. I liked the movie, and
yeah, I liked it too. I think I remember just being so scared of Malachi and Isaac.
Talk about Malachi.
You know, I was so scared of that, and I think I did watch it on TV. So in my head, it was a TV movie, so it worked for me. You know, I did like the music. I thought that was kind of creepy. It's at that tone. And you know, as a child watching it, I was very scared. Now that we watched it just, a week or so ago.
It doesn't hold up well. It's a little cheesy.
Okay, fine.
You know, because there's those horror films or any films. Excuse me. That despite being old, they'll hold up, whether it's in tone or execution or vibe. But I don't think that original movie holds up all that well.
Yeah. So then we get to now the new one, which is a reimagining.
And I always try to have an open mind on these because there's things that you can do better to pull things off, and there's the gore factor sometimes.
Yeah.
There's the creepy factor that sets up that kind of takes away from that, but at the same time, there's too many of these movies that are redone and they're just bad.
Yeah.
Like, what was it? The Jeepers Creepers one had
Creepers.
a lot of potential, and it just kind of
Yeah, that's too bad.
And then there's other ones like, I thought the new Pet Cemetery was really well done.
That was really good.
It was really well done, and so the Shining sequel thing was really well done. So I mean, there's abilities to do it.
Yeah.
Just.
So now we get to this new one that's just come out recently, again based on the story of the same name, same story. The children began to take over.
They ate a lot of corn.
The town, and this time there's not an Isaac or a Malachi religious type of leader. There's a little girl, who kind of begins to lead the children. And in this one, I feel like it was more of like in more modern times. The farmers are having a hard time with the corn crops and that whole thing where the government will subsidize you and or pay you not to grow corn. So in a way, it felt like the town was kind of dying because of the failing corn crops, and the children were like, "But the corn is life." But then it gets twisted into the corn is alive, just kind of like in the other movie. But to me, I didn't like that we didn't have an Isaac religious leader. Kind of, it's a little different.
See, I disagree on the idea of we didn't have a religious leader kind of thing, because I still felt a very cult-like vibe.
There was some cultist stuff. There were some
still had
religious writings in a book.
Still the Isaac of the film. There wasn't my issue with not having a Malachi to an Isaac was an issue, because in the original they fight each other.
Correct.
And they have issues against each other. So the internal conflict,
the power dynamic
in the original creates another level of issues there that's interesting, where this one doesn't have the internal conflict on their side. It's them versus the adults, and that's it.
Yeah.
So I think it does lose that element of it. I think the girl is fine.
She started to annoy me towards the end.
Well, she does a fine job through the whole movie. It's just a creepy child, and she does good at being sinister and kind of weird, but the movie itself is just kind of, it's a fine reimagining. It wasn't a bad movie, but it wasn't anything that I felt like it took the Children of the Corn idea and the franchise and made it any better.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing.
Correct. In this one, I feel like also there were less supernatural reasons for why things happen. You can see the mechanics of what they're doing and how they do it. So that was not, like some of the kills or the thing, like they planned it out, like you see them doing it.
I didn't feel like there was a lot of supernatural elements to the kills in the original film.
It felt woo-woo. Like, when he would say something and the music would go wah, 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 wah.
Yeah, but I thought that was more of a vibe, ambiance.
Okay, well, I missed that vibe.
Because the whole supernatural element to the original film, to me, just sucked. I hated it.
No, okay, because...
And I know it's a time period, the idea they went with the creature.
The creature, when that's what I was going to say in this.
But I felt it didn't feel in place with the movie that we were watching back then. Like this one,
they could have done it in this one.
It felt like they were worshiping something way more than they did in the original. Like in the original, it felt like they were more worshiping Isaac, and then there was more to that.
Yeah,
and it suddenly felt like we're watching a different movie. This movie, you feel like the Isaac and Malachi are this girl and the creature. Like they're the two dynamics, but they're unified, and it's not. There's no that like I said before. There's not that. Confliction, but it felt like that they're actually worshiping something, and it's bigger than what everything else is.
I don't know. I just wasn't connected with this. I think I'm so enamored with the idea of that fear factor when I was a child that I really like the original. What is better in this are the effects. Obviously. And the creature.
The creature and the idea of the creature is way better here.
It's much better in here. So if we could get that with the original vibe, I think it'd be kind of cool. But whatever. I mean, I think if you're a fan, if you're a Children of the Corn fan and you like all the other 10 movies, you may enjoy this.
You'll probably have fun with this one. It's not fun. A good movie. I didn't think it was a horrible movie. I enjoyed it fine, but
it's fun.
At the same time, I connected as much with this one as I did with the original one.
So not very. See, and I connect with the original. I think also the original. I remember watching it with my brother, and it was just, he would be like, Malachi is going to get you. So it's a thing. You know, it's something like, they're coming to get you, Barbara.
That's just like saying
that vibe.
But see, that's different. That's like talking about a zombie going to get you. Him doing that to you is like, another little boy down the street's going to get you. And I'm like, okay. Ted that lives 3 houses down is going to get you. And I'm like, oh, not Ted. You mean the kid that was picking his nose? Not that kid.
Anyway, I just think it's funny.
Anyway.
All right, we're moving on. All right, are you ready to talk about this one?
Oh,
we have a lot of film franchises today, so this is one. Are we ready for this?
3, right?
Yeah, but are you ready for that one?
Whatever.
Okay, we're going here. All right, next. Why are you laughing at me?
Because you're like, are you ready? You keep asking, are you ready? Just pick it. I don't care.
Okay, I'm picking it. Okay, so the next one we're talking about is Creed 3.
It's all about the third time the band went on tour.
Yes, the band Creed. So hopefully you actually saw Creed 1 and 2, I would hope.
Not to be confused with the comic by Trent Kanuga.
But I'm feeling like there are probably people who did not see Creed 1 and 2 and probably went to go see Creed 3. I would hope not.
Sure.
But there are those people.
Somebody actually asked me.
Do I need to watch the other 2?
Oh, no, it was about the other, about Scream.
Oh, Lord.
They asked if I saw the new one and if it was good. And they're like, oh, I haven't seen any of the other 5.
Well, don't go see it.
So why would you? Never mind.
Okay. Hopefully you've seen Creed 1 and 2, which in then turn makes me think, I hope you saw Rocky 4, which is where Apollo. Oh, no, should I say spoiler? Apollo
Creed.
You need to see
Rocky 1 through 4 at least, not just Rocky 4.
No. Yeah, see 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Well, you keep throwing 4 out like it's the end all be all of Rocky movies.
I love that one.
Rocky 4 makes no sense to anything if you haven't seen the other.
Okay,
ones.
So I've seen Rocky 1, 2, 3, and 4, and Creed 1 and 2, and then I saw Creed 3. So that's what I would do. You like? I do like Rocky.
See, and I think we're
part 6. I think.
No, I like
every one of them. Rocky Balboa.
Rocky Balboa is part 6. Part 5 is the one that most people don't like, which I think has one of the best fights.
I just switched to the last fight.
The problem is as much as people want to discount, every one of the movies plays into the story if you're going to go with Creed 1 and 2, because
you need to see
that's the Rocky story, and Rocky gets to certain places by Creed that took place through 1 through 6, even though they try to say after 4 doesn't really matter, but they do matter because it deals with loss of characters. It deals with where he's at in his station in life, his own mental state.
And I think 5 really, and even 6 leads into why he's like, I'm done with that. I don't train people anymore. But when he gets back, it's a little bit traditional training. And then when we get to 2, you see he knows some stuff about non-traditional training, which we're going to assume 5 and 6 really impacted.
Well, no, 4 was really that, because 4 was the one where
which is the one, is it 6 where he's like, your knees are jacked up, your eyes.
Rocky Balboa is the one where he's like, you're broken. We just got to find, basically, we need raw power.
Total damage.
So my big issue is with this, most of them leading up to where we're at, is like, while I love all these movies, Creed 2 I have some issues with, because it was a major missed opportunity that I think they fumbled the ball on.
I like Creed 2.
I like Creed 2, but they did not give the fans what the fans wanted.
And what was that?
We got no Rocky Drago, nothing.
Babe, they're too old to be fighting.
It doesn't matter. There was a scene shot where they fought each other.
Well.
In a
is there a director's
hallway
cut?
or something?
Maybe there'll be a director.
No, they never. I've seen it behind the scenes, but I don't think it's on a deleted scene. Anything. It's like, I don't care about Drago's son fighting somebody. You want Rocky and Drago to have an issue, and I think it was a failed attempt to say, I know we're pushing Creed, and I'm fine with that, and I was fine with that. So I thought it was a great idea, but I think they majorly missed the mark, because they didn't do something that we've been waiting for all these years from part 4, and if you're going to bring them 2 together, they've got to come to blows or have words, or they didn't even really ever have a big interaction.
Yeah, because I kind of agree and kind of don't. I'm okay with the sons being the proxies to finish the story of the older men. I'm okay with that. But I do agree, like at that first scene when he shows up at the restaurant, you think he'd be like, what the hell?
That should have been a hit immediately.
That should have been
like,
immediately.
He killed your best friend.
When he's like, oh, that's a nice photo. Too, like, too bad he's dead kind of thing.
Yeah, there was never I didn't even really feel like an angry conflict.
No. But,
like, Drago's mad. But Rocky never seemed really.
Maybe Rocky's come to terms in the peace with his
somebody
friend
who is
dying.
that's a problem I have with that movie. I like the movie as it is, but as I watched that whole movie, by the end of that movie, I was
you were mad.
I was left unfulfilled because it was like, we wait all these years, you finally decide you're going to do a Drago story with Creed, and you do nothing with Drago other than make him sad and borderline abusive father, and it becomes a redemption arc for him, those two, for him and his son, which is fine. That was a nice little twist of the idea, but there should have been at least a punch stone the first time he came in contact with him. Or I didn't expect like them getting in the ring.
Right.
I didn't expect that at all. And then when you know that they shot some sequence where they fought in like the bank, I think it looks like in the lobby of a bank or something. And then it's not there. I'm like, that's a stupid. There's so many things in these Creed movies to cut out.
Yeah.
The stuff that's left in and we don't get that, it just pisses me off.
Well, but we've seen that it took years for him to redo Rocky 4. Maybe it'll be years from now.
But he didn't. No, that's a different scenario.
Who directed Creed 2? Somebody else?
It wasn't him.
Does he have any control over the footage?
He doesn't have any control over the Rocky franchise, period.
How did he redo 4?
Well, I think that was before a lot of
stuff went down.
Because he's in the middle of a fight with everybody about rights.
But
he sold the rights when he made the original movie because he didn't have any money, and
he wants it back.
And nobody wanted him in the movie either, and he gave up some of his stuff because they wanted somebody else to be Rocky.
Oh well.
Anyway.
We're back to Creed 3 now.
But I will give it props. They did successfully with the Creed franchise when it started. They did successfully transfer the franchise to another person.
I thought that was a good transition, and you just kind of roll with it. And you're like,
I don't know how I feel about any of these existing without Rocky at all. It was like him just having, like in Creed 2, I'm not going to say what happens for the people that didn't watch it, but
come on, guys.
He has a good cap to his arc.
Correct.
But it's not a cap that would have, for me, would have been like, if they not made Creed 3, it would have been fine.
Yeah.
But by making Creed 3 and he's just kind of pushed away now.
Yeah.
Like, I know that you said there's like a mention. I kind of missed it, but it's such a throwaway line. To me, it was kind of disrespectful. Like, there should have been, even if it's a one-way phone call, like Stallone's not there.
Yeah.
But with the build up to what they're doing in the Creed 3, with all the stuff he's going through, you would have think Michael B. Jordan would have called, said, I need help, or what should I do, or this. And, I understand kind of a one-sided, I talked to Rocky on the phone or something. And it was mostly like, hey, Rocky's gone. We don't need to talk about Rocky now. And that's what I felt. I thought it was disrespectful to the idea of the story.
Do you feel the same way about his mama?
Whose mom?
Creed's mom.
Phylicia Rashad?
Yeah, do we care about her? We only care that Rocky was not there.
She's in the new one.
Is she in the new one?
Oh, no.
Is she? No. Oh, she is.
Yeah, she's a whole storyline.
Sorry.
Dumb.
Sorry. I forgot.
Talk about someone who just hates black
people. I can't
people.
tell you. Where did we go from that? Oh, my gosh. No.
She's a major plot point.
Yes, she is. Sorry. I apologize.
But let's just jump into Creed 3 now, since you don't remember any of it.
Wow. You know what? It's been like a month since I've seen it, guys.
Wow, it's been 2 weeks.
It's been like a month.
It's not been a month. It's been 2 weeks.
No, because we didn't have a show list, so it's been at least
Last
3.
week is when it came out. You saw it like the week before that.
3 weeks.
It's been 2.5 weeks.
I'd say 3. It was a long time ago. I don't even remember you in the morning. I don't remember who you are and what you did.
Don't be talking trash about what you know about all these franchises. You don't even remember.
I don't remember.
A couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yes, his mom is in, and it has a major issue. And I was actually that part of the story was actually really interesting that we chose to go down that route. I think it presents some interesting things and some emotional development there that I think we had to go through. And I feel like I'm wondering, in a way, I feel like all these movies really kind of is a retelling of a Rocky story.
That's all they are.
But now with Creed.
I mean, that's obviously all this movie is. The first Creed is really the same story, told from a different way.
Correct.
Then the second one is just Rocky IV told in a different way.
Correct.
And then this one is basically retelling Rocky again.
Yeah.
Kind of on a different level.
Or
that's one of the issues I have, at least with the original
Rocky
6 movies. It felt like it was a consistent. Rocky 1 and 2 are essentially kind of the same movie, but they're kind of a continuation of the same movie. I mean,
yeah.
The other ones always felt like, there's the same formula in every movie. Yes. Rocky trains, he fights, he loses, he doesn't come back,
he
fights back. And and then with Rocky IV, obviously, it was a different idea, but they were always about like the next step in his career and or his life. It was always a next step, a next step, a next step. I think Creed 1 and 2 weren't so much that. They were, the first one was about him introducing the character and stepping him up and getting him to a place. The second one was just, how do we work it in to connect it to Rocky IV and give him a little bit. I don't think he had a lot of growth in that movie, because that movie wasn't really about him as much as it was more about the Rocky IV connection.
Yeah.
And it was about the legacy of who he was and his father's death and all the other stuff. This one was more about Michael B. Jordan's Creed's evolution as a character and a family man, and put him in the place that Rocky was in Rocky IV.
Mm-hmm.
As kind of ideal, retired and doing whatever, and
kind of doing my thing,
famous and rich, and everything's going his way. I know they were trying to make it personal, a little more deep. I enjoyed the movie, and I thought Michael B. Jordan directed the hell out of the movie. It just felt like a lot of this trading the same thing, but I don't think you can do anything but that with these movies, because you've seen so many of them, they're all the same.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of layers to these movies anymore,
I liked the movie. What's his name? Jonathan. Yeah, made me really not like him as a person. So he did a great job.
Outstanding.
Because I really love him in the other movie, the one about the pilot.
Devotion.
Yes, he was so good in that. And this one, he's so like skeezy and like, yeah. So he's such a great actor. He really made me not like him. So that to me is so good.
See, and I didn't have that kind of feeling about him. I mean, I knew he was skeevy or whatever.
Yeah.
You don't trust him. And that's the other thing I think to me is, it's kind of like, I felt it's very predictable
in a way
of where the story was going. I mean, part of it, in the trailer, in the trailer, he's going to betray him. It shows it.
Correct.
So we know that's the setup.
Yeah.
So I thought a lot of it was just way too convenient for me. I didn't have a problem how he got his fight. I know you did.
Yeah, because once you find out what he did, why wouldn't you tell someone and he'd be in jail and you're done?
That's an issue, but I also know that's an ego thing of, now I'm proving something. But my issue is like that. I don't think they would ever get that high of a fight. But the same thing happened to Rocky. The same thing happened in all these other movies already. The same thing happened to Creed. There's people are getting title fights that should never get title fights.
Correct.
In rapid successions. But you let that part go.
Yeah.
For the shady business, and it is what it is. My biggest issue with this entire movie, I enjoyed this movie. I think especially for a first time directorial debut.
Yeah.
I thought Michael B. Jordan did an amazing job.
That is really good.
I think it is a good movie in connection to the franchise of Creed, but it does not feel like it belongs in the Rocky franchise. I felt the final fight, especially all the fights in the movie, felt way more Hollywood, and not in the way that the Rocky movies were. The Rocky movies were Hollywood, building up the drama, doing all this stuff, but they still felt like fights.
Mm-hmm.
These felt like choreographed fights.
Do you think it was the look and the feel, or just choreography,
both,
or both?
Both. The choreography was well done. It was perfectly executed. They looked great fighting. They weren't bad fights by any means. To me, had it not been connected to Rocky, I would have, this is outstanding. But feeling the vibe that you used to get from watching the Rocky fights, they were a mix of Hollywood and something you might see on TV. Like Rocky Balboa did a thing where I'm not a fan of it, but he shot it like you're watching a fight on HBO.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the way that difference looks in it.
Yeah.
But it still looks like a fight you're watching. These felt like a Hollywood movie fights.
Okay.
And especially the final fight, I hated. And not the execution, but the artistic expressions, how I'll put it, of what they did with the fight.
So
completely took me out of the Rocky franchise.
Yeah.
Despite I understood what they were going for and what it was trying to mean, I get it. To me, it just felt cartoony and didn't fit.
I got you. So did you see, you may not have saw the interview, but he was talking about directing it, that they specifically did it different and they used IMAX cameras to film it.
I get that.
And they were going for that whole different feel to take you out of the crowd and kind of isolate you into their own,
they're trying to put you in the ring
space. But I agree with you. I think at a moment, I don't know, I was just like, oh, what happened? And then okay. So I did for a second. I had
totally
to think,
understood
like,
what they
happened?
were doing as soon as it happened. But
then I got back into it. But I agree, it kind of breaks your momentum for a minute.
Yeah, because it made it more like a fantasy thing. And
it's a directorial choice.
No,
and I think,
totally.
And I think the camera thing too, knowing
the camera part didn't bother me at all because, like,
because it's a different.
I know they were, but see, if you watch
right?
the original ones, the Rocky movies and stuff, and even the first Creed, that you're still in the ring with them fighting.
I was going to say those fights
some
seem
shots
so
you
much
feel like you're
more,
outside too.
But the Rocky, especially the Rocky fight, seems so like brutal, like just like hard. And
they are,
like,
but that's because I think personally, I think it makes you think that way because Rocky fights twice in every movie, just about. He fights, he loses, he fights.
Yeah.
You know, and not all of them, but that's a big pattern. You know, and if it's not Rocky fighting twice, it's somebody else fights twice, and Rocky does it the second time or whatever. And I think but it feels like you're in those fights and you're enjoying them.
Artistic choice, and that's fine.
It was a bad artistic choice. I think there's a way that could have been done the exact same way they did it without all the effects.
We want effects
because I understood what they're doing. They were trying to basically almost capitalize it like Rocky and Apollo in the gym by themselves.
Yeah,
and I didn't get that effect. What I got was, wow, that's stupid looking.
Yeah, it took you out of
fight. I got as soon as what they were doing, and I'm like, okay, I understand what you're doing, but I don't need all this extra. It could have just done the same thing and got rid of the audience and just had the fight, and it would have done the same thing. We didn't need all the weird effects, and it just lost.
I'm gonna keep singing DOS effects. So
what I will say, I enjoyed, and I know some people didn't like this. I've read, but I, as somebody who's a fighter and been in this world, not this world, but been in tournaments at kickboxing and all this stuff, I really like some of the connections to the previous people from the Creed movies.
Yeah.
Because those connections really do happen sometimes where, somebody you might have hated in the ring and you fight and you lose, they become close outside of the ring.
That bothered me at first. And then I was like, no, Bobby would say that's what happens. And I think I've seen it too at tournaments and you see it. Yeah. Your biggest competitor can still be
you become friends with people you've had an intimate battle with, because you got to remember a lot of these fights in the ring, despite trash talking and stuff, they're not personal. Sometimes they're about their own journeys. Yes, there are fights where these two people hate each other, and a lot of it leads up to it, and then they despise each other afterwards. But there's a lot of these people that they're defending a title, and the guy they're wanting wants to destroy them because that's their pattern and that's what they want, and this person just defended it, show them they're still better, and then at the end they step out of it and they might have gained respect for each other, and that's kind of par for the course and not hard to step out of the ring and become friends or at least respect each other and say, look, I lost this fight and maybe you can help me, because I'm watching you beat the shit out of me one time. What did I need to fix?
Yeah. Okay, different question now. What do you think about the evolution of Tessa Thompson's character?
Of the who character?
Tessa Thompson,
she's fine.
Mrs. Creed, essentially.
Yeah, she's fine.
Did you have anything about where she's at now in her career? What's happening with her?
No, I thought it was. I like that they involved her too, but she's still she's second fiddle to the whole thing, which she should be because that's not what the story's about.
Do you think she's as powerful as an Adrian?
Yeah, because I didn't give two craps about Adrian either.
But Adrian was the catalyst for Rocky, for everything he did.
Well, and Tessa Thompson is the catalyst for Creed.
Okay, I'm just making sure we feel it.
She's the catalyst in a different way. Rocky was just stupid and
he was not stupid.
But he was a bumbling.
He was a little bit.
He was
slow.
A dunderhead.
He was slow.
He was stupid,
and he caught up.
He thought, I'm not a swap man. He's stupid. He was an idiot, but. Because he was punch drunk more than anything.
Yeah,
but
he was punchy.
He was born punch drunk, I think. But that was a love story two people's journey. Her journey was really only the love story with Rocky, and then Rocky's own journey was trying to find his place in the world and be something more than just a dumb.
Well, and I think what I loved about Adrian though is she's like, you're already it. Like you don't have to do anything else, but he couldn't see it.
Well, Tessa Thomas is the same thing.
Yeah,
she's the exact same character, but she's deaf.
Except in this one, she's like, do what you got to do, and I was like, okay.
Well, because she stands behind him, but she also realizes.
Babe, I didn't let you fight nobody.
She also realized you tell me to hit things all the time.
Yeah, but you can't be fighting no more.
I can do whatever I want.
No, you can't.
Anyway, I like Creed 3. I think it works better as a continuation film more so than a standalone film.
Yeah.
There's nothing bad about it. It just I don't think it's as strong as the first one. I don't think the second one's as strong as the first one either. But it is. I like the
second one, so because it's that story that I wanted.
Now you may not know this news.
Tell me
in relation to the Creed world.
Tell me Creed world.
But apparently, news reports have now come out that Michael B. Jordan is now heading up expanding of the Creed/Rocky universe.
Oh.
And I guess because of his success as a director, because the movie has made a buttload of money already.
Okay.
There's been talks of one of the suggestions I made that somebody even brought up that may be in development is talking about, like, I think the next evolution would be his daughter.
Correct.
And I think that would be an interesting thing to see.
Finally.
Being with her. Well, not even about being a female boxer, but another legacy, but a legacy of a different connection, but also with the hearing impairment.
Yeah.
There's a lot of elements I think they could play with there. And being a youth boxer, I think would be even more interesting to see. And your dad this and the trials you'd have to go through because, there's going to be people that respect you because of who your dad is. There's going to be other people that expect things of you because of who your dad is. But apparently there's all kinds of things in the works, whether it's TV shows, movies, ideas to expand this franchise.
That'd be cool.
At one point, there was even talks of a new Drago film spinoff. The one I always wanted to see, they talked about years ago before Creed came out. There was actually, I don't know how far into development it got outside of just reports. They were supposedly going to make a Drago movie where it started off with him in prison, in a Russian prison, that he got thrown in prison after the fight.
Well, he did grab that guy and choke him.
Well, it was going to be because he lost the fight. He was going to be in the Russian prison, and it was going to be like a prison boxing thing that they had him do it.
That'd be so fun.
But then, of course, they can't do that now because he's.
No, but we can find someone that looks like him, surely.
No. It was going to be Dolph Lundgren and everything else at that time. It was supposed to be like an older age.
Okay.
So we can't do that now because the story's already been changed. He's not in prison.
Well, we don't know if he was in prison for a while and then got out. And
I don't want to see somebody else playing Drago. That's stupid. If I'm going to see it, then we've already said. But there's been talk about expanding the story of them and the son's boxing career and stuff. So.
I think it'd be cool to go with the daughter.
We'll see if anything gets. It's all owned, I think, by Amazon and MGM now. So.
All right.
I just know Stallone says he has nothing to do with the Rocky franchise now,
as long
as this other guy's involved, who's like a producer, who's apparently screwing stuff over. So
who knows?
Who knows?
All right,
Moving
next.
On. Creed 3 is in theaters now, and it's worth checking out if you like the franchise.
All right, next franchise. We're now to the new Scream movie.
Okay.
What?
I don't know. We have these other movies that if you want to go on another franchise or talk about these other.
We're just going on.
First.
We're going on.
All right.
All right. We are now on Scream 6.
I like that you had to look and try to figure out what Roman.
I had to think. We're on Scream 6, guys. Mm-hmm. Woo! So again,
I'm really surprised how many people think this is one of the best ones.
There's been 1, 2, 3, and now 4, 5, 6.
No.
What?
Why did you break it down like that?
Because there's 1, 2, 3 that has your real big your main characters, and 4 introduces our new people. So now we have this section of the trilogy.
No.
4, 5, 6.
No, 5 and 6 are separate from 4.
Okay, fine.
1, 2, 3, and 4 are all fit to the same
kind of
cast. No.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
1, 2, 3, 4 are all the Sydney story. They just have the other.
Sydney's not as big in the. Well, she is.
She's a major player. She's not as big in 5.
Yeah.
And non-existent in 6.
They mentioned her, by the way.
Right.
She's mentioned. Are you over Sydney?
I've never been a big fan of Neve Campbell, but I think my problem with horror franchises in general, Nightmare on Elm Street and all the other ones, is when you have there's something about that you like seeing the same person fight them because you become a fan.
Yeah.
But also it starts getting ridiculous. Like, how many times can this same person fight this same thing?
She's a survivor, babe.
I know. Before they would just go mental. Like, if they had ever taken Sydney and made her the killer,
that would have made
and then I would have been like, that would make sense because she would have gone nutty bags from everything that's happening.
I agree.
But
that would have been around. They should have done that around part 4.
They did good with what was this 3 the one where she's in isolation already?
Yeah.
1 and 2 are the high school college.
Yeah.
3's the one where she's like under a different name, living in isolation.
Correct.
That makes sense to me. That's the evolution of the character. That's the same Laurie Strode idea where she went away and
living on a compound.
Yeah. And that's one thing I liked about the new Halloween movies is it evolved her to, she kind of went nuts, but with obsession to kill him because she knows he's coming back. And if they had never made the movie, she could have just lived in that ideal and never just been like normal society, But anyway, moving on.
Okay. So now we're on part
6 still.
Lord.
Like that you can't remember 6.
Because there's so many of these.
It's 6. There's always 6.
That's a lot. All right. I like all these movies. I'm going to go out right now and say I am a Scream fan.
Yes, you are.
I liked it from the very beginning. I thought it was clever. I think because it was very aware of itself and gave us the rules at that point. It was meta before meta was a word, of knowing itself and giving you rules of the killing and following the rules. But then, it breaks the rules of itself when you get to a sequel or a trilogy or a prequel or a requel, and we get into all these different things. So I liked it as very aware. I liked it now we're to the point where none of the rules matter because it's just crazy serial killer. So whatever, we're to that point in the story.
My only issue,
so I'm happy.
My only issue I ever had with these movies, I like these movies too. I actually like them quite a bit. I still think, like a lot of people, that 3 is the weakest. I'm not sure why so many people hate 4. I actually like 4, but
what's 3?
My issue is a lot of the motivations behind the killings is stupid. But you let it go because of what you're watching.
I mean, because
some of them connect
stupid.
well, and then other times it's just like, I think it was it 4 where they just wanted to be popular? They wanted to go viral or something like that. That whole idea is just stupid.
She just wanted to be as famous.
Yeah,
as
I know
Sydney.
people do that, and there's crazy people like that. I just thought it was stupid. As clever as some of the other ideas are, I think like the first one's way more personal, and I think it lost some of that, and it all became kind of silly reasoning on some of it. But again, we're not watching Shakespeare, so
correct.
You kind of just have fun, I think all of them have been clever on their own merit. I want to say that I think this latest one, to me, was the weakest twist in the franchise of who did it, but that was just me.
And I do think, though, this is one of those where you do have to see them all because they all do kind of connect and intersect, even though I think from this, I think I was thinking 4, 5, 6 because that's what I watched going into this was 4, 5.
Yeah.
To make sure I get the Hayden story.
Part 5 actually really only connects the first 3. There's one minor connection with because I believe that one deputy shows up in 4.
Correct.
The blonde chick.
Yes.
That's when she shows up first time, right? The 4th one with her lemon squares.
It'd be 3. She was in one of the movies.
Yeah,
the deputy. She's in 4. She's in 4.
That was the only connection to 4 in the previous movie. The rest of it was kind of very harken back to very harken back to the first 3 of the trilogy.
Correct.
Where this new one, I think, dives heavier into the 4th one, as well as the entire franchise.
Well, and 5 because 5's when we meet these people.
No, that's why I said 5. I'm not. Jesus Christ. Obviously, it connects to 5 because it's the direct sequel to 5.
Okay.
But I'm talking about the original
group. Yeah.
I'm about to stab you with a pencil. John Wick's fixing to come out. I'm about to recreate.
You can see what's her name is still there holding on. So.
I'm ready for all the franchise characters to be gone.
Yeah, I think at some point they have to.
Because this, again, like Creed, I think this has been another successful passing of the torch, if you will. I like the last one quite a bit in how they handled it, how they brought the franchise characters in. Somebody had to die or it wouldn't make any sense. And I'm not going to say who dies in case you didn't watch them or anything, but the person that died should have died 4 movies ago, which became ridiculous. That was kind of a silly aspect thing. So I was glad that was the person that they took out finally. Because in the next movie, they would have had to have been in a wheelchair by this point. But I think this cast is strong enough on its own that it doesn't need, like, I don't mind Hayden showing back up because we've only seen her in 1 movie.
Correct.
And I thought it was an interesting way of bringing her back, especially since we all thought she was dead in the 4th movie.
Correct.
But I like the story they used to bring her back. But I think this new cast, the 4, was it? what do they call them? So the Force,
the Core Four.
Core Four. I think they actually are strong enough cast to carry the franchise for a few films.
Yeah.
So we don't need Gale. We don't need Sydney. We don't need
this
Dewey
dog.
and,
Our dog is snoring in the back. I apologize if you hear it. It's
I don't
really
think.
loud.
I don't think we. I think we had a good piece with them in the 5th one. We don't need them for the 6th one. They're used well in the 6th, and they're not in the front and center. But I think it's time to get rid of them and let's move on with the normal, the new
our
peoples.
life. Okay, how do you feel now that we're finally out of Woodsboro?
I love that we're out of Woodsboro because that was another issue I always had. Because
like, why would anyone live there?
Yeah, like why did they just have like, like the military just stationed in Woodsboro at this point?
Dumb.
They would have opened an entire FBI office in that town.
But I do like that we're in New York and you have the subway, you have these buildings, and you have
Woodsboro is basically Jack Bauer's daughter.
Look,
she was always kidnapped or taken or something.
Yeah.
I like, it's funny is there's a lot of jokes about it, like this being a lot of people were like, I'm going to see Jason Takes Manhattan 2. But I read an article they studied, and there's references to Jason Takes Manhattan in the movie, but they studied Jason Manhattan to how the a slasher flick work in New York. Because a lot of people have said about they didn't think New York would be a good place because there are too many people.
But that's the best place for a killer to hide.
I know, but sometimes, like, how do you explain away somebody getting stabbed in front of 50 people and nobody setting it work? And so that became an interesting dynamic. I also feel these last two, but I think even this one even more, way more brutal. And the twist to this one makes the brutality make a little more sense.
Yeah.
I found the opening, because every one of these movies has their cliche, not cliche, excuse me, their designed opening where somebody's supposed to get a phone call and somebody's supposed to get murdered.
Yeah.
And then we lead into the story. That's how the franchise works. I thought this was the most clever because it really turned it on its head and did something new.
Yeah, it did something fun, I thought. Okay, what do you think about having some Latinas heading the cast?
I hate Latino women. I can't, no.
Wow.
I thought they were good in the last film, and I thought they were good in this one. I also liked something we didn't deal with a lot outside of Sydney was we're dealing with two dynamics of how they're dealing with what happened.
Correct.
You have the one, which was an interesting twist of how she's being treated. The other one's like, I'm moving on like it never happened. And you can't with that kind of scenario.
Correct. And it is cool that there's two, like the sisters, because like you said, there's that push and pull between the two of them. And with Sydney, it was just Sydney, and it was so internalized that, I mean, we only knew because, like, in one movie, she's completely isolated. Okay, we know what's happening.
But yet, Gale and Dewey are just living their lives.
Correct.
Like nothing happened.
Okay.
Dewey, I can almost understand. He's a police officer. He's supposed to deal with these kind of things and then keep moving forward.
Correct.
Gale's a reporter. She's probably been around crazy things. Maybe you can get over it. The first 2 times. After that, everybody breaks.
It's like after you've been attacked, he said he was stabbed, 20-something times. I think you want to just stop, leave, move away.
He should have had a way worse drinking problem than he had.
Right? Change your name and move away. Who knows? Anyways, I liked this movie. I thought it was clever how it connects to everything.
It is a direct sequel to the last film.
Correct.
So it is more important to see the last one than anything else, because anything else that's happened in the franchise outside of Kirby, which is Hayden's character, you almost don't need to know. They'll
kind of explain it to you.
Yeah, they tell you in the movie anything you may need to know. But there is one major element that plays into the major reveal and the twist and the angles. It's all the last movie.
Just watch all of them.
Yeah.
Enjoy. And then some of our friends, I've never seen any of those movies. I'm like, how are we friends?
Well, come on. I get if you're somebody that doesn't watch horror films or slash films.
Well, what's wrong with you?
But
this is a major genre.
I really enjoyed the film. I thought the twist that I was hoping for, which I never let that be my determining if it's a good movie or bad movie, because what I want and what they do is not always anybody's options, because we're different people, obviously. But I saw a really big missed opportunity here that I thought would have been really cool. I thought the twist was kind of partially predictable, because I think we both kind of figured it out a little early on, not way at the beginning of the film.
Yeah, and then there's one thing at the end, like, well, of course, hello.
Yeah, I thought there was too many things that kind of were way more obvious than some of the previous films. But at the same time, some of the previous films, I thought the reasoning was stupid. So
correct, but then sometimes the obvious thing isn't what it is when they give it to you. So I try to go with open-minded.
That they really lead you to believe in one of the directions I was hoping it would go. That I'm like, it's way obvious.
That kind of is what,
and it didn't go there, and I'm like, okay, I'm good. You gave me a different twist, but then it was revealed. I'm like,
oh, okay.
That wasn't very exciting. It wasn't as exciting of a reveal as I was hoping, but it still works and it's still fun.
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was a lot of fun, but I like all these movies, so what can I say?
And it did officially, I think the last one did it first, but this movie did this weekend broke the franchise record of the box office.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
I'm sure it made more than the last one, so I'm sure we're getting it a 7. Whether or not these new guys, these people that made this last two will be involved, we don't know, but we'll see.
Okay. There you go. Liked it.
I give props to these two guys that came on. I think they call themselves Radio Silence. They're the same people that made Ready or Not. They're the same act.
Ready or Not.
You know what I'm talking
about?
Here
I come. Yes, I do.
The one about the board games and stuff.
Yes.
Which is why Samara Weaving has a small part in the new one.
Yeah. Not Margot Robbie.
Not Margot Robbie.
Which
I think they did a great job because these two are the first two that were not directed by Wes Craven, and correct. I think they did a good job paying homage to the franchise. You can see the love and the care for the franchise, and in turn, it makes the movies better.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's another franchise I think is successful from beginning to end, even though it has ups and downs.
Correct. There you go.
Scream 6 is in theaters now.
All right. Speaking of Samara Weaving and Margot Robbie, they're both in the same movie, and it freaked me out for 1 second when I was like, wait, I'm like, oh,
thankfully one has a bigger part than the other.
Yeah, so one came through and walked out, and the other one was here. So this is the movie Babylon, which did come out a little while ago, and we missed it.
But it's fixing to hit Blu-ray and
stuff. So that's why we're catching it now on the Blu-ray release. So Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie, a lot of other famous people. Tell me about it.
How many?
Tell me, a lot of other people. Tell me about it.
Stud.
Right. There you go. Thank you. Thank you for
understanding on that, hoping I would tell you.
I just wanted to make sure you got my reference.
Do what?
You're not as much of Grease as I am into it.
Tragically horrible.
Wow. Okay.
So basically, the whole movie is, it's basically the rise and fall of characters where during a period when movies are transitioning from silence to talkies.
It's a talkie.
Her favorite phrase, actually, into a movie.
It's a talkie.
And also dealing with like depravity and the excess of Hollywood, the behind the scenes, the drug use, the sex, the insanities, that kind of stuff. This entire movie, well, I don't want to say this entire movie. The big chunk of this movie is an exercise in excess.
Correct.
And it can be a little much for some people. I think for you it was a little much. One of our friends I know thought it was a little much. I didn't feel it, not because I like seeing the weird stuff. I do like weird stuff, but
do like it.
I felt like it's making you uncomfortable and it's making you disgusted and grossed out and all those feelings you have by those things, because that's what those things are supposed to do. And I think that whole opening sequence is that. The rest of the movie is not really that.
No.
But that opening sequence puts everything on the table.
Here. Yeah.
Sex, drugs, violence, insanity, craziness, disorientation. Disorientation. Thank you.
I think people were some on heavy LSD or something.
Yeah, there's so many things that's in your face that by the time you finish that, you're just kind of like, that is just too much.
And that's just the first intro. I think I can get it. I get it. I understand the old Hollywood thing, and I feel like in some ways this is still happening in some underground areas. I think now, knowing what we know and our sensibilities of how people are treated, I feel like there was like a whole room of just little people that were being used for like sex torture porn. Yeah. Or special ed people that were being used for other, like there were those rooms you could go to, and I'm just like, this is kind of disgusting.
But that's the idea.
I know, and
then I actually love that setup because it's so chaotic. It's like it gave me Great Gatsby vibes on like an insane coked out level, and I felt like, wow, this is like insane. And then the movie leaves that section. And then you follow like these 3 characters and their journeys
through the
and now it's
filmmaking here.
Now it's kind of a normalcy to their careers and their journeys, but this world exists that you just went through first, and they all 3 came from that. And so you never really are prepared for anything to be normal. Everything's off all the time the rest of that movie. And I think it's by design. So you realize that nobody's okay. Nothing is normal when you're dealing with Hollywood. Nothing's trustworthy. There's too many people stabbing you in the back. There's the financial side. There's the the talent. The reviewers. There's so many levels of things that can either go really great for you, or they'll just throw you in the trash when they're done with you. And that's kind of what that party is too.
Correct. I mean, and I think, like I said,
it's a level of pleasure and disrespect.
Yeah.
And that kind of feels like how Hollywood is when you're coming up and falling down.
It still happens now. I think it's obviously not on such a crazy scale, or it's hidden, but then things who find out things, that have been happening, and crazy sex rings and who knows what else.
I can tell you this. I know we have a different opinion on this film. Like, after sitting with it, when I first finished watching it, I was like, I kind of dig that movie. But, the more I sat with it, the more I loved the movie. But it's because I love all things about like old Hollywood and seeing them develop films and seeing how they shot things. And, and I know not everything here is an accurate portrayal of every little thing, but that stuff just intrigues and engages me.
Right.
So I'm all in, where you get a little more bored by the life stuff. And
I'm unlike you. I did not love it. I think it's okay. I would never watch it again. I think it is excessive, over the top, and I feel like there's so much time for me wasted in that when there's such a good story in there, that for me, I'm just like, when are we getting to the meat of the story? And when we get to the story, and that part of it, just that part of it is so chaotic and crazy, that was enough for me. All the other stuff was like too much for me.
See, and that's why I think just the vision is different, because I felt that chaotic aspect set up the chaos and normalcy and made you mentally see things that you're not always seeing when you're watching the second parts of the story, where there's not actual chaos happening.
Even throughout her life is chaos. Bad Prit's life is chaos. So I mean,
agree,
it's there,
but it's not that same level of chaos that you open with.
Yeah.
And so then you realize.
But I'm just like, meh.
None of these people's lives are normal anymore. Because of that one crazy night, nothing's normal after that.
Correct. I get it. It's just
it's kind of like a bad decision mentality of whatever decision you made at this party that night
is going to affect
changed
your career.
Everything. The one guy who became a major producer, and one lady on her way up as an actor, and the other actors on his way down. And like I personally thought Brad Pitt's story was the most compelling.
Yeah.
Only because I'm always super interested, because he plays the actor who's like one of the most famous actors, but he's not transitioning into talking very well.
To talkies,
because they're laughing at him about his acting. Because as a silent actor is one thing, you start having to verbally deliver lines, that's a whole different kind of acting. And I guess he's unintentionally hilarious. People are laughing at him. He's feeling like, I don't have a place anymore. I was it. What do you mean? And I've always found stories about, like, you see actors like Brendan Fraser's a prime example right now of somebody who was like the guy and then disappeared.
Yeah.
And then now they're back, and you learn about all the stuff that happened with the sexual abuse stuff, or the stuff that were just kind of thrown out of Hollywood because they didn't take something, or whatever the story is for that person.
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage has his stories, and these people that went from, Bruce Willis, Die Hard, to straight to video movie. You know, those stories have always intrigued me
more,
because I was like, why are you taking this movie? You were in Die Hard, all 17 of them.
But then you realize people have real lives too, and the reasons why. And I mean, it's I don't know. I just thought there was so much chaos, but I think the sub-story, the actual story of each character, is actually really interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
Because it's me, I think I was more drawn to the story of the Mexican guy who was trying
to support the Hispanics.
Yeah, so that's Diego Calva. He's an actual Mexican actor.
You just want to support him because he's Hispanic.
So I thought his story was compelling as that immigrant story in old Hollywood, but not being treated as the, like, hey, the Mexican, which a lot of them were. Like, he was able to work for Brad Pitt and work on the studios and became a studio guy, but then of course he falls for the wrong person and things, and terribly, and then he comes back. So I mean, that whole evolution of the up and down, even his own story, the rise and fall, and it came back and it was different.
Yeah,
I thought that was intriguing. And of course this guy.
Oh yeah, I think he had, even though it was not even really a whole storyline.
But the trumpet player that you see, who's his name? It was Reggie something in the movie, right?
Is it Jovan Adepo?
I don't know. I'm trying to find the actor's name, but he plays.
That's what I'm saying. Is that Jovan Adepo?
Maybe. Was it Reggie the trumpet player?
I don't know. I don't have it in front of me.
Anyways,
I thought the cast list instead of looking at pictures.
His story was compelling, because too you see how, let's just say, people of color were treated in films, and between the two of them, they kind of helped each other out because he's like, it'd be better if they could see the music and feel it when they were dancing, so they get on camera. Well, then suddenly we have color cameras come in. And is it this guy? Or is it this guy? It's this guy.
It is Jovan Adepo.
Yeah.
I assumed it's him because he's one of the main people on the poster.
Then it's like, oh, well, you're lighter skinned than the other people.
Well, he wasn't lighter skinned. The lights were making him lighter, yeah.
And so then
it makes you explain when you watch a black and white movie and you see how dark they are.
Oh my gosh.
Because they made him put black makeup, like coal color black makeup.
And I'm just like, oh my gosh, this happened. And for me, because I'm a person of color, those two storylines really affected me more than the other.
Well, I think there's two big scenes in the movie that I think are the best of the whole movie. One is being that one.
Oh my gosh,
the emotions there, the uncomfortableness of both sides of it.
But it was horrible.
The decision making, yeah, the racism, all that stuff in that, and then the follow-up moment of what he does because of that after performing the scene. But my other favorite scene too is when they try to film their first scene with sound. Yeah, it is such
that was hilarious,
stressful, hilarious,
that was
frustrating sequence, and it made me. I think I mentioned a few times when we were watching. It was like I can't imagine what they were dealing with back then, that, because they were trying to figure out how to make this work, but you couldn't make a sound anywhere, and if you did, it ruined everything. And it's not like today people tell you to be quiet, but you can edit things out now,
Oh my gosh, it was insane.
I really dig the movie, but I fully recognize it's a movie that will not connect. It'll probably connect with less people than it does connect with.
Did our friend say it was too much? It was a lot, right? For them?
I think so.
But did they like it?
I only talked to one of them, and I think they were kind of like you on.
It was a lot.
It was too much, and I didn't get that. I saw a different purpose for that. Mm-hmm. But again, it's all your own speculation of what you see and interpretations.
Because we don't all have to like the same thing, everybody.
What?
Hey!
So Babylon is floating around. I think it's on digital now, and then I think it comes out on March 28th on Blu-ray and DVD.
There you go. Okay, we got one more to talk about.
We're going to talk about this for it? Okay.
Yeah. Did you forget?
No, I just forgot we were going to actually talk about it.
Oh, yeah, let's talk about it.
Because I didn't review it, but we mainly watched it because of the Oscars.
Yeah, because we got our Oscar ballots here. So this is the movie Tar, starring Cate Blanchett.
Which is a movie going in we thought was based on a true story.
But that's what I love. This is some marketing genius. Everything you go read about it says based on the life of a composer, whatever. Marketing genius.
I only thought it was about literally the description of the movie based on composer so-and-so. I thought it wasn't until the movie we completely finished the movie. And then I'm like,
is this real?
I went back and looked and I said, this is not a real person.
Yeah, no, but they did a great job. Every website or thing you go to makes it feel like it, but it's a picture of her.
So we probably have different opinions on this movie too.
Okay. I enjoyed the movie.
It was fine. I lost interest for a while.
I thought it was intriguing from the sense of, I don't know that the normal populace would expect there to be such intrigue and backstabbing in the world of the orchestra, but I know there is.
Watched Whiplash.
I didn't watch Whiplash.
I don't know why you won't watch Whiplash. Whiplash is so good.
That's another one that seems very chaotic.
Oh my god, the movie's it's not as chaotic as you think it is.
I like Cate Blanchett in this. I think she was a little over the top at times, but I feel like your good conductors really are. They're in their own little world of what they see and what they feel when they're directing a symphony. And there's one point at the movie where she's like, this is mine, this is my music.
Yeah.
So I get that, and I understand that, because
I agree with you with her. I thought she was good in the movie. I just felt the movie one was too long.
It was a little long, I'll give you that.
It's another one. To me, it was like what you were talking about earlier about they could have trimmed this movie. Yes. And that's this movie for me. Is it felt like it just droned on a lot of times and was going nowhere. And then when it finally started doing some of the things that were affecting her career, it felt like they were rushing some of that. Like everything that happened or seemed to happen at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And everything in between that was just me watching her walk around I'm going to play this. I'm not going to play this. Let's do this. Let's not do that. And, then there's an element where she gets obsessed with some stuff. And then.
Yeah, but I agree. It takes a little too long to unfold to that whole thing. Like, what is the controversy?
To me, and I don't know, maybe it was because I started losing interest that I wasn't as focused on it. It also wasn't always clear
what was happening,
what she was dealing with, or what she was doing. I was just like, why is she mad? I had to ask you, why is she mad about such and such?
Yeah.
What is this person's problem? And you're like, oh, because she did this. I'm like, when did that happen?
You might not have heard it. I don't know.
So I don't know. I didn't think it was a bad film. It is definitely one of those movies. I understand why it was nominated for an Oscar because it's just that kind of movie.
Yeah.
It's not a movie that I would have come out and said, hey, this movie should have deserved an Oscar. It'd have been a movie that made like, that was a movie.
Yeah.
I would have maybe thought she should be nominated. But the rest of the movie felt drab and bland. That was just me. I didn't hate it, and it's hard to make it sound like I liked it because I didn't dislike it. It just I would definitely never watch this movie again. There's nothing about this movie that intrigued me to watch it a second time.
I might. I think to me the funnest part of the movie, or the most intriguing part, was just actually her life at home, but with the neighbors, the crazy neighbor lady. To me that's intriguing, and to me, that whole, we keep hearing you playing music. When are you not going to be playing? That whole thing, that whole idea to me was interesting. When she can hear the neighbors doing crazy stuff and being loud all the time. So it's one of those. I don't know. I think because I wanted to be an orchestra conductor, it really hit home for me, and I get it. I feel it. I've seen it, and maybe that's why I'm more connected to it. But whatever. In case you didn't know, I wanted to be an orchestra conductor. There you go.
What?
That was my life. And then my mom, of course, was like, "No, don't do that." So, who knows?
Anyway, it's in theaters, and I think now still. I don't know.
All right. So now that's the last one. So over to you, sir, for your dibs.
Oh, I don't even.
Dibs and Blu-rays.
All right. Are we not doing any of this here? Or we're just
gonna. We're gonna do it after.
Oh, well, that's weird.
You want to do it right now?
I just thought that'd be part of the show. Not.
Oh well, let's do it right now. Oscars, the Oscars.
So I know the Oscars are probably already on now.
They're on.
And what we normally do is we pick the movie we want to win, and then we pick the movie we think will win. We're not going to go through this whole list.
No, we're going to just do this.
We'll just do the main line.
Go up.
So you have Best Picture, Directing, Actors, Actresses, Leading Supporting Roles, and then Animated.
Okay, so we're going to start with Best Animated Feature.
We're going to stop at the bottom? Okay.
We're going to start on the bottom up.
All right. I'm a little torn on this one. I have a couple of them that I really dig.
Yeah, there are a lot. So I've checked a couple that I really like that I would be happy if they won.
Yeah.
I think it's Marcel is my favorite. That's what I'm going to pick. Do I think it may actually win? I think it may actually be Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio.
I think here's the thing is I like Marcel. I would be happy if Marcel won because it's such a movie that shouldn't be in the Oscars.
It's so great.
And, I don't know if you've seen. I don't know if they're interviewing or just having a conversation, but there's thing with Marcel doing a Zoom call with Brendan Fraser.
Oh no, are they? Oh, I'm gonna have to go watch it.
And I didn't get to physically listen to it. I just saw it playing, and it was like Marcel couldn't get her camera to work, so it's just a picture of Marcel. But I'm kind of with you. I think Pinocchio is a better movie. I really dig that movie, and I went into it thinking like,
but I'm okay.
I want Pinocchio to win. I think Pinocchio will win, but I'll be fine if Marcel wins.
And I think Turning Red could be a good option. Puss in Boots. I don't know.
The CB's the only one I haven't seen.
Yeah, we didn't see that.
I would actually be fine if any of these won.
All right. Then we go to Best Actress in a Supporting Role. I want
Hong Chow to win.
Oh, is that which one?
She's from The Whale, but she's also
that's
in The
who
Menu.
I marked. I'm like, what if she won? But I think it might be Jamie Lee Curtis. I don't know.
I think it's gonna be Angela Bassett.
I think that's.
But I would also be happy if Jamie Lee Curtis won.
But I would like Hong Chow, so I picked those two.
I would like Hong Chow win, not just because of her performance, but also The Menu. I think
she's so good in The Whale, though. Too.
But I'm glad she's nominated because that gives you at least that extra step.
Hopefully, it gives her a little
Hollywood.
push. Yeah, I hope so.
It's supposed to.
We need to see her some more. Okay, Best Actor in a Supporting Role.
I want Ke Huy Quan to win.
I think so too.
And I think he will win.
I think so too.
But I would be totally fine if Judd Hirsch won.
I've marked Brendan Gleeson and Banshees.
You haven't seen it.
It doesn't matter. I saw this great interview of Colin Farrell talking about because he worked with him in another movie.
Yeah, I know.
and just that love and
Who you
chemistry.
talking to? I know about this.
I know that's because Colin Farrell's his.
Can I finally
main
get
crush.
you to watch The Banshees of
I will,
Inisherin? It's such a
but
great movie.
just talking, just that like brotherhood and love they have. I would love him to win.
Oh, I would too. I would be fine if he won. I'd be fine if Brian.
Because you like that movie.
I would actually be fine with everybody here if they won.
Judd Hirsch, yeah,
he was amazing in that movie.
That's the only thing good about that movie.
No, I disagree with you, but I understand what you're feeling. I know you did. I know you did.
Okay, now actress in the lead role.
I'm all Michelle Yeoh.
Me too. And I'd be okay if Ana de Armas won in Blonde.
I would because I love her.
She's good. The movie's
hit and miss, but she's amazing in it, and I love her. Period.
Yeah.
So I'd be fine just to stare at her on stage.
Okay, actor in a leading role. I hope it's Brendan Fraser.
I want Brendan Fraser to win. I think it's going to be Austin Butler.
I think so too.
But I would be really happy if it was Colin Farrell.
I know it would. Your man crush. Has he ever won anything big like that?
I don't remember.
I have to go look up his record.
I think he was nominated for something else at least.
And I like that in that roundtable interview. Did you watch that one where he admits like he was a bad boy?
Yeah,
he had made
mistakes. He
was so dumb.
Shouldn't have got that famous back then. And
he's like, I was so
That was
dumb.
a great interview.
I loved it. I love that they're so self-aware.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay, then best director.
I think the director will be For Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I agree.
I would also be fine if it was Banshees of Inisherin.
I picked that one too.
Yeah.
Okay, then best picture. I am so torn. I don't know what to pick.
Not really.
Really?
I'm not torn because some of these I don't think even should be on there.
Wow. Okay.
I think Everything Everywhere All at Once will win.
Okay.
I would be fine if the Banshees of Inisherin win. There's not another movie on this that I think should have been nominated.
Elvis? Oh, over Women Talking?
Elvis is a great movie, but I don't
think...
Women
Talking you didn't see.
I haven't
it's
seen
so
it, so
impactful.
Triangle of Sadness just made me sad
Guys,
to watch it.
We tried. We really tried to
the first movie in a while that I've turned a movie off. I was so bored with Triangle of Sadness. Top Gun, I think, is a great movie. I do not think it's an Academy Award level movie. I think it's a great.
I think it's one of those that should be for like cinematography.
Cinematography.
Maybe it's on here.
Action sequences, yes.
Agreed.
Effects, yes.
Who won effects?
It's one of those movies I think has been nominated for a lot of things. I don't think it's a best
like film
picture
editing
level,
or something.
But I do love that movies like Avatar and Top Gun are on this.
Thank you.
Because that means they're finally not everything is some stupid artsy.
And I like Women Talking too. You didn't see it, but it's literally people sitting there talking. It's a talking.
Is it about women that are talking?
It's about women that are talking, but I like that there's that variety.
I give a lot of this credit to The Shape of Water.
Correct.
Because it winning and getting up there, it opened up the door a little bit. I know there's others, but it opened up the door. Not everything has to be some artsy fartsy piece. It can be a creature feature. It can be an action flick. It can be something more than just two people with English accents speaking.
Correct. Yeah, it doesn't have to be.
I'm sorry, English people. That wasn't a dig at you.
Yeah, it can be. It can be anything. All right. So those are our predictions. We will complete the whole ballot, and then we take score because I like to win. I'm very competitive.
She usually loses, though.
And I normally lose, but I'm going to try anyway. Doesn't matter.
All right. So coming out on Blu-ray and DVD this week. It's not a huge week, but The Walking Dead, the complete 11th season is coming out.
Wow.
Which I believe is the final season of the show.
I got lost back in like season 6 or something.
I think I've watched up to. I think I stopped in the middle of season 9 or 10 because of us moving and getting rid of streaming at the time, and it's only you have to buy AMC, and I haven't bought AMC. But it's on Netflix now, so I need to go watch those and get caught up just to finish the show. But there's also all the 3 spinoff shows or something. Then there's gonna be a movie. So much. Anyway, A Man Called Otto is getting a limited release Blu-ray, which I thought was a great movie. But there are some people that really turned on it. I was crying all over the place. There was somebody, because the movie deals a lot with like suicide and happiness and loss and all that kind of stuff. And I saw somebody post about it. They were just bashing it because they're like, this movie did not advertise it. It was about suicide. And it was just this, not the movie I thought we were going to watch. And I took my kids. And I'm like, whatever. Shut up.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's fine.
Read a synopsis once in a while.
Isn't it rated?
The Well, the Brendan Fraser movie, The Well, that is an amazing movie.
Which also people are bashing that it's glorifying obesity, and I'm like, I'm sorry, that's what you saw. It's okay. That's all right.
And my thing with The Well is as depressing as that movie is. That is a movie I could rewatch.
I would
strictly because of his performance. It's so amazing that it engages you into it.
Good.
And I could rewatch that.
I would totally watch Men Called Otto.
There's a movie called The Apology. I don't know anything about it. It says A Revenge as a Mother. Oh, goodness. There's 4K release of Super Cop, which is actually Police Story 3, if you didn't know that. But that is Jackie Chan and Michelle Yeoh. Which brings me to a funny article that somebody wrote.
Okay.
That was talking about how Michelle Yeoh has been a Hollywood treasure for years
Been around
without
forever.
getting recognition in the ways that she deserved, like she's getting now. And then the article, somebody shared in it, that talked about how she had like the traditional Hollywood face, this and that, and she just never really got a chance to really showcase. People just threw her away as an action star and stuff for a long time. And it talks about in this movie, there was another movie they talked about. I don't remember what it is, but they talk about how when the person comes in the room, like her, especially in Everything Everywhere All at Once, how her face changes to the reactions of the people, and you see those emotions, and you're seeing that thing. It says, and how many actresses can really say they can do that and ride a motorcycle on a train?
Well,
so it's
I was just gonna say Crouching Tiger too, by the way.
Well, that's the movie they were referring to. Is when she's this really powerful woman in that movie, but when she gets around him, she kind of breaks down into like a sweet innocent girl.
She still makes me want to be able to do this thing,
right? But that's what I'm saying is she's amazing.
She's amazing,
especially
she's an amazing human,
especially for someone who's not a martial artist initially. She was a dancer, and
it's still amazing.
Making her bones like head to head with Jackie Chan, who ironically I believe turned down the role of Everything Everywhere All at Once. And they rewrote it for her as a female instead of the male.
Yeah, the lead.
Because I think originally she was supposed to play his wife.
Yeah, she was going to be secondary to him.
I believe that's the story I read.
Maybe.
Anyway.
But anyways, doesn't matter.
And the Streets of Fire is getting a 4K release. And a few other ones. Those are the big ones.
FYI, Man from Auto says rated PG-13 for thematic elements of suicide and language. So
of course
please check the ratings before you go watch a movie, guys.
You have to be responsible enough to actually check that.
Responsible.
When everybody else
just willy-nilly at the movies. Well, the movies made me do it. That was one of the things that was Scream 1.
It's another case of nobody wants to be held responsible for their choices. It's just like when Deadpool stuff came out.
It's it isn't my fault and I didn't do it world.
Yes.
Quote that.
It's like Deadpool came out. Everybody started losing their mind. Oh my God! I took my family. This is a superhero film. It's like
no, it's not.
It is a superhero flick, but you didn't look that it was a rated R movie.
Well, and maybe
the same thing happened to Sausage Party too for a lot of people.
Oh my gosh! And he even said not a children's movie, like very specifically. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right. It's not that pickle movie because that pickle movie is the one.
The which one?
The pickle movie. The Seth Rogen, the movie about the pickles.
Oh, that movie.
That one or
American Pickle.
Which
be good luck trying to find it.
Oh, really?
That's one of those I think they pulled off HBO Max when all the throwing away stuff.
Man. Okay. Coming out at the theater or online. So coming out Tuesday, March 14th. Video Demand and Digital is a movie called The Siege. It's an international assassin seeking a new identity.
Moving on.
Okay. Also, a movie called The Pilgrim. It's a man living in London who has to come back to the American West because something happens with his estranged mother. Coming out Thursday, March 16th. This seems like something you would watch. The Resurrection of Charles Manson, starring Frank Grillo.
That is the one that is directed by his son.
Oh, okay. This is so exciting. Oh, so sweet. But not Charles Manson, but the direction thing. Sweet. But you're into the whole
you saw Manson that trailer.
Thing. Yeah, so we'll watch that. Coming out Friday at the theater, the movie 65, starring Adam Driver.
That's already out. It came out this past Friday.
Okay, well, it says here.
That's weird.
Okay, well,
they must have moved it up because it came out this past Friday.
Okay, fine. Go watch it. Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Somebody's watching that, so we got to watch. I think now with Shazam, I feel like you need to watch the first one to watch the new one.
I'm assuming you do.
Could be important.
I think you can probably skip, even though it's supposed to be part of it. I don't think you have to actually watch Black Adam, even though it's technically part of the whole thing.
Anyway, well, watch that. Also coming out to theaters is a movie called Inside. It's a thief who gets trapped inside a penthouse because his heist doesn't go well and he's trying to figure out how to get out. So we'll see how that goes. It looks interesting. Also in
what
theater,
was it? I'm sorry.
Inside.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It says Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
So it looks really cool. Also coming to theaters a movie called A Snowy Day in Oakland. It's just someone trying to connect back to their family and their roots and the new neighborhood, but it's got Michael Jai White and Loretta Devine, so I'm in. You don't have to tell me twice.
Michael Jai White?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know that one.
So
every so often he does one of these like love story things or whatever that doesn't make any sense.
Okay, coming to Netflix. This looks interesting. It's called The Magician's Elephant, and it's a story of this little boy, and a fortune teller tells him the elephant will lead you to your long lost sister, and kind of his journey with that. Also coming out on video demand and digital, a movie called Supercell. It's Anne Heche and Skeet Ulrich and Alec Baldwin, and it's these people following in the footsteps of their father, who's the legendary storm chaser, but killed by a tornado. So I think they're following a storm. Who knows? We'll see. MGM Plus, is this their own service?
Yes.
Okay, coming to MGM Plus movie. There's something wrong with the children, which I do want to see. This is the one where they go on the vacation and the kids go play out in the woods and they come back and some creepy stuff has happened. Man, they're not normal. So I want to see that.
Not to be confused with something wrong with Kevin.
Correct. This looks interesting. Coming to Hulu, it's a movie about the Boston Strangler, and it's following.
That's one of the trailers you're supposed to.
Okay, it's following the reporter that first breaks the story of the Boston Strangler. So that's going to be really good. It looks like Keira Knightley.
It is.
Then coming out to video demand and digital, Pinball: The Man Who Saved the Game. The story of Roger Sharp.
Yeah.
Okay, the pinball guy. And I think that's kind of it coming out this week. So there's a good variety of things we'll be talking about next time.
Sweet.
Tell me about our giveaways, babe.
Okay, sorry, I was trying to figure out something. So we have a variety. We have, of course, still have copies of 4K of Training Day.
One of your favorites.
We have a movie that we'll be talking about soon called Legend of, and I believe it's actually pronounced Gotachaka.
Gotachaka.
It's not Gotachaka like it looks.
And
it's anyway, it doesn't matter. That movie.
Gotachaka.
It's like Chaka, I believe.
Chaka.
Like I think it's pronounced CH, even though it's TK.
Okay.
It's Indonesian. Anyway,
We'll
that's what I was looking at because I read it somewhere. I was like, oh, jeez, I said it wrong last time. And
yeah, but we went and looked it up, and it's actually an actual legend in those parts of the world.
But for us, it will forever be known as Gato Kaka. We also have some 4K copies of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, some DVD copies of House Party,
the new one,
the new remake, reimagining, whatever you would call it. One of the bloodiest movies still of the year
ever.
Project Wolf Hunting, and the latest martial arts wushu flick is the Code of the Assassins.
Okay, there you go.
That's all right. What's happening. Also, this weekend we will be heading to the annual event of AllCon. So we will be out there mostly promoting my artwork and doing drawings for people and all that kind of good stuff. But we have a plethora of Blu-rays and DVDs that we'll be bringing with us. That Superhero Sunday predominantly we do giveaways. We may actually have some special giveaways at our table. That if you want to come over there and you don't necessarily have to be present to win. You just you have to show up to AllCon at some point.
Yeah.
And then you
maybe we'll do a raffle because we have some big.
So I'm saying we do raffles and you don't have to be at the con to win.
We can do a raffle every day.
You don't have to. Let me rephrase it. You don't have to stay at the convention all 3 days to win. You just put your thing in the thing and we'll do it. Then I'll have your email or your phone number and contact you, send it to you, whatever.
There you go. All right, I put a link to AllCon there. Yeah. So we'll see you this weekend.
Right. Hopefully, if we don't see you this weekend, then how dare you?
Thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you. Check out our website, HollywoodMatrimony.com. Go find us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Hive. And we'll see you next week.
Be careful to not get the hives.
Peace out.
Or diarrhea.
Wow. Wow.